वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं
देवीं सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो
ततो
जयं
जयं विदीरये।
अष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
अष्टप्रायेषु भक्तेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं
नित्यं भागवत
भगवते
सेवया।
सेवया।
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके
भगवते
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
कृष्णाय
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
देवकीनन्दनाय च
देवकी
देवकी नन्दनाय च
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः।
गोविन्दाय
गोविन्दाय
नमः।
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
So we are studying 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, with Srila Prabhupada purports. So the chapter is titled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. We discussed several incarnations. Now we'll continue from there. Actually, 40 to 46 also we understood. How we cannot understand Lord without Lord's mercy or devotee's mercy. So we'll continue from there. Do you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
शाश्वत प्रशान्तमभयं प्रतिबोधमात्रम्
शाश्वत प्रशान्तं प्रतिबोधमात्रं
शुद्धं समं सत् असतः परमात्मतत्त्वम्
शुद्धं
शुद्धं
समं सत् असत् परमात्मतत्त्वम्।
शब्दो न यत्र पुरुकारकवान् क्रियार्थो
शब्दो
शब्दो न यत्र
पुरुकारो
पुरुषरकवान्
क्रियार्थो
क्रियात्
मायापरैति अभिमुखे च विलज्जमाना
माया
मायापरैते अभिमुखे च विलज्जमानः
तद्वै पदं भगवता परमस्य पुंसो
तद्वै पदं
भगवतः
भगवत्परमस्य
परमस्य
पुंसो
ब्रह्मेति यद्विधुर् अजस्र सुखं विशोकम्
ब्रह्मेति
ब्रह्ममेति यद्विदुरजस्र सुखं विशोकम्।
वज्रस्वसुखम्.
So after describing various incarnations of the Lord, now Lord Brahma, this is a conversation between Brahma and Narada. So he will now briefly describe about, so that is Bhagavan relation. He will briefly describe about Paramatma and Brahman relation. So the first lines are talking about Paramatma, and then next few lines are talking about Brahman realization. So let's this Brahmeti Yadvidur Ajasya Sukham Vishokam. Yeah. So briefly there is description of Brahman and Paramatma relation as well. Yeah, please read.
What is realized as an absolute Brahman is full of unlimited bliss without grief. That is certainly the ultimate phase of the supreme enjoyer, the personality of Godhead. He is eternally void of all disturbances and is fearless. He is complete conscious as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinctions. He is the principal primeval cause of all causes and effects, in whom There is no sacrifice of fruitive activities, and in whom the illusory energy does not stand.
So there is the description of Brahman. What is Brahman? Full of unlimited bliss without grief, right? So, in the material world means, so material world is the lowest. There is material miseries. There is grief always. And between grief, there is, some pleasure, material pleasure, but again, mostly it is grief, right? And Brahman is relief from material grief. When there is no material grief, that state of consciousness is realization of absolute, the Brahman. Yeah. Yeah. He is eternally void of all disturbances and fearless, and is fearless. He is complete consciousness as opposite to matter, right? So matter is material, and Brahman is spiritual in terms it is completely conscious, right? Uncontaminated and without distinctions, right? It's uncontaminated and without distinctions. He is principal primeval cause of all causes and effects, in whom, yeah. So this is different description, right? This is Paramatma relation, right? Brahman is pure absolute consciousness, right? Material world is all full of matter, while Brahman is pure consciousness. But one thing that's not understood in Brahman realization is what is the source of this Brahman consciousness, Brahman realization, right? They don't really focus on, they just get, are blissful in Brahman realization, but they don't understand what is the cause of that Brahman, right? So that is uncontaminated without distinctions. He is the principal primeval cause of all causes and effects. When one understands all this Brahman is rooted in the supreme Paramatma, that is Paramatma relation. So that is the second one. Yeah, Paramasya Pumamso.
So,
Hmm.
Prabhu, Brahman is only the consciousness you're talking here, but not like a features, right? Because right now we don't talk about that here in this verse, that Brahman has no akar, vikar, or no shape or no person. But in the all cause and effect, Paramatma, do we say that Paramatma is a person in this case, or?
Paramatma is understood as a person, but he is only understood as the supreme source of all energies. He is not understood as a lover. He is not understood as a sweet personality with emotions. He is considered as the source of everything, right? Yeah,
So it's like an energy source of all energy.
source of all
Is
energies.
Brahman, we don't talk about energy,
No,
or
we don't understand the variegated energies like material energy, spiritual energy. Brahman is pure consciousness. It's like sunlight, right? Yeah, you are just happy in the sunlight, but you don't understand the sunlight is coming from sun disk.
right.
So that sun disk is the source. When you understand that there is the source, is Paramatma relation. Within this body, there is the soul. There is Paramatma who is driving the soul. So that is Paramatma relation, right? Similarly, at the universe level, there is, the Garbhodak Sai Vishnu is the source.
Right.
When one understands this, these Paramatma aspect of God, that is the second level of realization. The third
Yes.
level is, it's not about just understanding him as a source of everything, also the most loving father. And I want to love that person. That is Bhakti, Bhagavan relation. So
Yes.
there is a deeper exchange of understanding and relation.
Got it. So, Prabhu, one more clarification I need is in a Brahman realization, does whoever is thinking about Brahman, do they think that everything comes from Brahman and everything goes back to Brahman and I'm also going back to Brahman, or?
Yeah. So when you realize Brahman,
Hmm.
it's as if you lost yourself under, there is no ego in Brahman realization. So
Okay.
you will never see that you are distinct from Brahman.
So self-identity is lost.
Your identity is lost. So in Brahman realization, one who realizes Brahman, he is part of that Brahma Jyoti. So there is no observer,
Mhm.
there is no observation.
Yes,
And
yes,
you realize that you are in state of full consciousness.
yes, yes.
Brahmananda, it's called.
Got it.
So there is no identity, there is no perception.
Mhm.
It is just self-absorption.
Yes, yes, yes.
That is
So,
Brahman.
so yogi meditates on Paramatma or also Brahman also?
No, yogi meditates only on Paramatma.
Paramatma. Okay.
And he will see the Paramatma form.
Paramatma form in his eye.
Thumb as the size of the thumbnail in the heart of heart. In his
Yes,
mind's eye, he will see the Paramatma.
yes, yes, yes.
Paramatma.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
I
For
think
Bhagavan realization, it is, there is nothing like that. He is just cries before the form of the Lord. There
yes,
is
yes.
absolute love. Yeah. Kaustubh Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, you answer one of my questions. Brahman and Brahma Jyoti the same. So like, sometimes like people also kind of like try to get liberation to merge into Brahma Jyoti. So how is that? Like, is it just trying to understand that concept?
What is the question, Prabhu? They want to merge
The,
into Brahma Jyoti, yeah?
yeah, so sometimes some sound like the people they want to that liberation to merge into Brahma Jyoti.
Correct.
So how
That is,
to understand that thought?
yeah, so liberation into Brahma Jyoti means merging into Brahman. So they want to become one with Lord. And so Lord has 3 levels of realization. One can realize Lord in 3 levels, right? One is Brahman, which is basically the energy of the Lord. Brahmano hi pratishtaham, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. I am the source of Brahma Jyoti. Right? So it's like there is a sun disk, right? From sun disk, there is continuous emission of energy. That energy is like Brahma Jyoti. And sun disk is like Paramatma. And there is also a person called, Surya Deva, who is the personality behind sun. So that is, that is Bhagavan realization. So yes, that is also true, but unfortunately, that is not a permanent liberation, because you merge into Brahman, you are blissful, there is no material misery. But what is the problem with that? You are happy eternally after getting merged into Brahma Jyoti. But there is a catch there. What is that? Anyone?
Cannot sustain without service.
Why?
Because there is nothing to serve or nobody to serve directly. So
Hmm.
you are happy, but again, unless like
Your eternal position is to serve.
Because our nature is to serve, we have to be engaged to be happy. We cannot sit down and be happy. That's the problem. So because we cannot do that, we need engagement. So you know what happens to these people who liberate themselves as into Brahmajyoti? After say 1,000 or 2,000 years, or sometimes 10,000 years, they come back again and do what? They are the ones who start, hospitals, because they want to do something. They become very famous, but they do these kind of things. So that's not a permanent position. Paramatma relation is much far better, and lot of people who achieve Paramatma realization become devotees. End of it. So that's why that verse is there. Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatir antaratma shraddhavan labate yaman. What is the next last line? Samayukta tammamataha. Yeah. So of all the yogis who continuously meditates and serves me is the highest of all yogis, Krishna says, right? It doesn't stop, you know. Sometimes, you know, so they get confused. Maybe I am the Paramatma. In that case, they will be lost. But most others will become devotees after seeing Paramatma form of the Lord. Because now they saw the form of Lord, they want to see what it means to serve the Lord. So that is how they progress naturally. Just by seeing, they don't become happy. This is how Narada Muni started. You know, Narada Muni, when he lost his mother, he goes to forest in search of God, and he would start meditating under a tree, and suddenly the form of Lord appears in his mind, in the eye of the mind. Unfortunately, he couldn't sustain it long because his practice is not sufficient to keep it for long. And yeah, in a short time, he would lose that vision of the Lord, and then he would cry that he lost that, you know, vision of the Supreme Lord. Then, you know, after some time, he would hear the Akashvani that, yes, regrettably for this lifetime, this is how much you will achieve, but stick to the path and continue to worship the Lord, and eventually you will achieve the highest perfection. And he would continue after that. And by the end of his life, he would achieve the highest perfection. So that is actually Paramatma relation. Brahman relation is achieved by Kumaras, right? But they were also, again, they were not satisfied, and ultimately they end up becoming devotees of the Lord after having the personal exchange with Lord at the gate of Vaikuntha. Yeah. So you will never find a devotee who is after Bhagavan relation to become either Paramatma relation or change the path to Paramatma relation or Brahman relation. But you would see many examples of people who are, you know, on the path of Bhagavan, Paramatma relation or Brahman relation to become devotees. If they receive the mercy of devotees.
So Prabhu, fall down is also not treated as this changing the realization, correct? Like Ajamil, he was a Brahman and he was doing all the austerities and devotional service, and then he fall down.
Yeah,
But that
he doesn't have any spiritual inclination to begin with.
okay.
So he's a person in mode of goodness before.
Yes.
Falls down to mode of ignorance,
Mhm.
and then again he will rise after achieving
Got okay.
the experience. Yeah, please.
Yes. Pratibodh Matram is just a opposite conception of material existence. In matter, there are material miseries, and thus, in the first realization of Brahman, there is the negation of such material miseries. And there is a feeling of external existence distinct from the pangs of birth and death, disease and old age. That is the primary conception of impersonal Brahman.
Right. So it's just basically negation of negativities of material existence. Means basically you don't face anymore the four problems, right? You are realizing the eternality of existence, the soul's eternal future. But again, they may really be relieved from immediate birth, death, disease, and old age, but eventually they will come back. It's not permanent. Hmm.
The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Soul of everything, and therefore, in the Supreme Conception, affection is realized. The conception of affection is due to the relationship of soul to soul. A father is affectionate to his son because there is some relationship of nearness between the son and the father. But that sort of affection in the material world is full of limitations. When the personality of Godhead is met, the fullness of affection becomes manifested because of the reality of the affectionate relationship. He is not the object of affection by material tinges of body and mind, but he is the full, naked, uncontaminated object of affection for all living entities because he is the super soul or Paramatma within everyone's heart. In the liberated state of affairs, the full fledged affection for the Lord is awakened. In as such, there is an unlimited flow of everlasting happiness without the fear of its being broken as we have experienced here in the material world. The relationship with the Lord is never broken. Thus, there is no grief or and no fear.
Hmm. So in Brahman realization, you just realized eternality of the soul, and in that state of Brahman consciousness, you are, blissful. As one advances to the Paramatma relation, this is the next level. Eternality and the knowledge of the source of eternality is also realized, right? So that is, and when that is realized, naturally, when you understand the source of all everything that exists, oh no, you understand he is my real father, right? So when you understand who your real father is, you wanted to love him and serve him, right? So that's why, um, in that liberated state of affairs, the full-fledged affection for the Lord is awakened. So there is natural love. If you understand your source now, you develop love for him. Yeah. You can read here.
In the Upanishad, the description is more or less negation of the material conception of things. But this is not a denial of transcendental senses of the Supreme Lord. Herein also the same is affirmed in the statement that the Supreme Lord is pure, Shuddham. The word Shuddham indicates that the senses of the personality of Godhead are not made of material elements. They are transcendental, free from all contamination of material identification.
Hmm. So senses of Lord are pure.
Pure. The senses in the material world are surcharged with material ignorance. In every way, the authorities have recommended purification of the senses from the material conception. In the material world, the senses are manipulated for individual and personal satisfaction, whereas in the spiritual world, the senses are properly used for the purpose for which they were originally meant, namely the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Such sensual activities are natural and therefore sense gratifications there is uninterrupted and unbroken by the material contamination because the senses are spiritually purified.
Yeah. Sense gratification there is uninterrupted. Yeah. So because that's pure sensual interaction. So senses are used for the purpose they are meant, for which is the satisfaction of the Lord. So why we are given the senses, the jivas, it is actually everything, it belongs to Krishna. So it has to be used for the satisfaction of Krishna naturally, right? So because that is used in that way in the spiritual world, it gives true satisfaction. Sadriyan niyamya yataya. No. Sadriyan niyama yataya yamakarta. No.
Sadarayat
Yam
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 Ya yatayo
karta
karta katin
idam.
Jahyo swarat siva
ahi
nipana kanti. No. Kanitram indraha.
Jahu swara
jahyo swarat pa nipana
Indra.
kanitram indra.
So now we just discussed about Brahman and Paramatma relation, right? So yeah, read this one.
In such a transcendental state, there is no need of artificial control of the mind, mental speculation of meditation, as performed by the jnanis and yogis. One gives up such a process as the heavenly king Indra forgoes the trouble to dig a well.
So when one achieves this kind of perfection, his mind is controlled, either Paramatma or Brahman relation. Yeah, so formed by jnanis and yogis. So one gives up such process as the heavenly king Indra forgoes the trouble to dig well. So Indra is what? Indra is the lord of water. Once suppose a jiva is normal, he has to dig well to get water, right? Or he has to pay money to irrigation department and get the water, right? But when he becomes Indra, he is the controller of irrigation and water facilities itself. Does he need to dig the well or pay the bill to get water? He doesn't, right? Why he doesn't need to pay? Because he's the basically the leader or maybe the master of water. So similarly, when jnanis adopt the process of mind control through meditation or this search for knowledge, the Brahmajyoti people. So once they achieve the perfection, they don't anymore need to practice what they were doing till then, because they achieved that state, right? So basically, for a devotee, he continues to do what he was doing in the sadhana stage, even after achieving the highest perfection, because that is his natural state, correct? So a devotee is supposed to serve the Lord through Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, so Atmanivedanam. So all these 9 processes are the natural state of the jiva. So their means and the goal are same. So once they achieve the goal, they continue to do the same means. It's just that they are far more aligned in their worship because they achieved the highest perfection. But for jnanis and yogis, whatever methods they have adopted to achieve the state of perfection is not useful anymore, because they have achieved what they need to achieve and there is no going back.
A poor man in want of water digs a well and undertakes the trouble of digging. Similarly, those who are poor in the transcendental relation speculate on the mind or meditate by controlling the senses, but they do not know that such a control of the senses and achievement of spiritual perfection are simultaneously made possible as soon as one is factually engaged.
Yeah.
In the transcendental loving service as the Supreme Person, the personality of Godhead, it is for this reason that the great liberated souls also desired to be associated in the hearing and chanting the activities of the Lord. The example of Indra is very appropriate in this connection. King Indra of heaven is the controlling deity or demigod for arranging the clouds and supplying the rains in the universe. And as such, he does not have to take the trouble to dig the well for his personal water supply. For him, digging a well for water supply is simply ludicrous. Similarly, those who are factually engaged in the loving service of the Lord have attained the ultimate goal of life. And for them, there is no need of mental speculation to find out the true nature of God or his activities. Nor do such devotee have meditate upon the imaginary or real identity of the Lord. Because they are factually engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord's pure devotee have already achieved the results of mental speculation and meditation. The real perfection of life is therefore to be engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
So what is mentioned here, so the process changes. For the devotee, it is the same, and devotion also includes, jnana and dhyana, right? See here, it's mentioned, because they are factually engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The Lord's pure devotee have already achieved the results of mental speculation and meditation. What is Lord's devotee doing? He is always thinking about meditating on the Lord, and he was also trying to acquire knowledge about God. For example, you're all attending these classes, so you're learning. So in this way, you're always connected, So that's why bhakti includes the benefits of all the other processes, right? Yesterday we were hearing about different processes, which is superior, right? For example, karma yoga. Karma yoga means what? Acting for the satisfaction of the Lord, or giving up the fruits without any attachment. Giving up the fruits is karma yoga, right? And so there is karma yoga, there is jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and bhakti yoga. Karma yoga means work, giving the fruits of your work to, giving up the fruits of your work is karma yoga. Acquiring knowledge about God is jnana yoga, and meditating on the Lord is dhyana yoga, and loving God is bhakti yoga. These four process. Karma yoga. So if you are working for the satisfaction of Lord, right? So that is karma yoga. Doesn't mean that you will love God. You work for some company, doesn't mean you love that company, right? But if you love your, a person, you would work for him. So bhakti yoga includes karma yoga, but karma yoga doesn't include bhakti yoga. You may acquire knowledge about God, but doesn't mean you will love God, right? You may know everything about how the whole, phenomena of God works, or the personality of God works, but doesn't mean you will love him, right? You may know many things just for writing exams, but doesn't mean you love that subject, correct? But if you love something, you would automatically know something or more about, the thing that you love. So Jnana Yoga doesn't include Bhakti Yoga, but Bhakti Yoga includes Jnana Yoga, because you acquire knowledge about, Krishna, for example, whom you want to love. And then Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga is to meditate on an object, God. Just because you're meditating doesn't mean you love the personality you are meditating on. But if you love somebody, you will automatically meditate on that person. So Dhyana Yoga does not cover Bhakti Yoga, but Bhakti Yoga automatically covers Dhyana Yoga. So Dhyana Yoga covers Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga covers Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, everything. All the yogas are within Bhakti Yoga automatically. Yeah. So that's why Prabhupada says, if you are on the path of Bhakti Yoga, it means that you have already done Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. The same line is stated here. Because they are factually engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord's pure devotees have already achieved the results of mental speculation or Jnana Yoga and meditation or Dhyana Yoga. So the real perfection of life is therefore to be engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Love includes everything else. So Shreyasam api vibhur bhagavan yatosya
Shreyasam api vibhur bhagavan yatasya
bhava swabhava vihitasya sata prasiddhi
bhava
Swabhava
swabhava
Tata
vitasya satha prasisi
dehe swadhatu vigame anuvishis yamane.
Dehe
nehe swadhatu vigame nuvis
Shriyamani
Yo me vatatra purushona visirjateja.
Vyomeva
Vyomeva tatra
Puna
puruषो न विचित्र्यते जः.
Please read.
The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything, auspicious because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, He is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists, exactly like the air within the body.
Just talking about the eternality of the soul. Yeah, are awarded by the Lord. So whatever karmas one perform, the results are accordingly awarded by the Lord. So because ultimately all activities are meant for satisfaction of the Lord. So every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore even after annihilation of the material body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body. So the eternality of the soul. Yeah. So there's an important point mentioned by Prabhupada here.
Even the impersonalist cannot achieve the desired merging into the existence of the Supreme without being favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4:11 that the Lord awards similar results as one desires in one's present life.
So Lord awards similar results as one desires in one's present life. Yeah. So this is the transactional verse. Based on one's desire, one achieves the yaya tamam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Yeah. One should please read.
One should not, however, mistakenly think that after the annihilation of the present body, there is nobody by which one can associate with the Lord face to face. The living entity is unborn. It is not that he is manifest with the creation of the material body. On the other hand, it is true that the material body develops only by the desire of the living entity. The evolution of the material body is due to the desires of living beings.
So based on the desires of the material body, jiva, material body is evolved. Soyam te bhivitastata
Soyam te
Tata
vihitastata
Bhagavan Vishwabhavana
Bhagavan
Bhagavan Vishwabhavana
Samasena Hare Nanya
Samasena
Samasena Harenanyat
Anyasmat Sadasachat
Sanyasma
Anyasasmat Sadat Asachat.
So now the description of incarnations is over. Descriptions of Paramatma and Bhagavan are over. Now Lord Brahma is giving further instruction to Narada Muni that now that you understand the purpose of everything, go ahead and, everything is caused by Lord Hari. I am not the real creator. It is the Lord who is the creator. So now go and preach this message all over the world. That is the final message in this chapter. Yeah, go ahead, read.
My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Hari, the Lord, there is no other cause of the phenomenal and nominal existence.
So he's saying both material and spiritual worlds have come from Lord himself.
Since we generally have the experience of the temporary material world and conditioned souls trying to lord it over the material worlds, Brahmaji explained to Narad Deva that there is temporary world is the work of the external potency of the Lord, and the conditioned souls struggling here for the existence are the material potency of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah, so Lord, yeah, so since generally the experience of material, so we all have only material world experience. Conditioned souls trying to lord over material worlds. Brahma explains to Narada that this temporary world is work of external potency of Lord, or the Bahiranga Shakti of the Lord. The conditioned souls struggling here for existence of the marginal potency. We are the marginal potency of the Lord. We are not the internal potency. We are not the external potency. We are the marginal potency, or Tatastha Shakti. So the Tatastha Shakti can move either in the direction of external potency or in the direction of internal potency. What determines that? It is the choices that the jiva makes determine whether they will be aligned to internal or external potency.
One should not depreciate the Lord, the Supreme Lord, for the creation of his miserable world. Just as one should not blame the kings for creating a prison house in the government. The prison house is necessary institution for the governmental establishment for those who are disobedient to the laws of the government. Similarly, this material world, full of miseries, is a temporary creation of the Lord for those who have forgotten him and are trying to lord it over the false manifestation. He, however, is always anxious to get the fallen souls back to home, back to Godhead, and for he has given so many chances to the conditioned souls via the authoritative scriptures. His representatives, the personal incarnations also. Since he has no direct attachment to the material world, he is not to be blamed for its creation.
So the whole material creation is like a prison house constructed by government. It is not the mistake of government to construct. It is because there will be always a set of people who will be criminally minded. So to facilitate them, a jail is needed in a city. So similarly, middle world is created because there will be violators of laws of existence as created by Lord. But the best part is Lord is always anxious to get back the jivas from the material world. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Yanme Bhagavatoditam
Yanme
Yanme
Bhagavatohitam
Bhagavatotitam
Sangrahoyam Vibhutina
Sangrahoyam
Sangraha
Vibhutinam
Tvametad Vipulukuru.
Pame
Etat Vipul Kuru.
Narada.
O Narada, this science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in summary by Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it was spoken as the accumulation of his diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself.
So now Narada is being instructed by his spiritual master Brahmaji, and also is the father. So he finally summarized and So now expand this and spread this. That is the next message.
The Bhagavatam, in a nutshell, spoken by the personality of Godhead in about half a dozen verses, which will appear ahead, is the science of God, and it is potent representation of personality of Godhead. His being absolute is not different from the science of God. Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahmaji received this science of Godhead from the Lord directly, and he handed over the same to Narad, who in turn ordered Srila Vasudev to expand it. So the transcendental knowledge of Supreme Lord is not mental speculation by mundane wranglers, but is uncontaminated, eternal, perfect knowledge beyond the jurisdiction of material modes. Wonderful.
Yeah, very nice purport. So Brahmaji received the knowledge from Lord and he handed over to Narada, who will in turn give it to Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva again further expands. He would actually write it down in 4 Vedas and disseminate the knowledge across the board. Yata haro bhagavati
Yatha haro bhagavate.
pranam bhaktir bhavishyati
No, no.
Nam bhaktir bhavishyati
sarvatmani akiladhare
Sarvatman
sarvatmani akhiladhare
iti sankalpya varnaya.
iti
iti sankalpya varnaya.
Yeah, please read. Kalindi Preeti Mataji, can you read? Are you there? You are muted.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Uh, Which
Okay, we are not able to hear. Anybody able to hear? I can't hear.
no Prabhu. Hari.
No.
Really problem, Prabhuji. Hello,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
now we can hear.
You can hear you? Okay. You can hear me? Okay. Please describe the science of Godhead with a determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being and the Samam Bonam source of all energies.
See? So how is Hari described here? Super soul of every living being. Right? Because he is the source of Paramatma. And Samam Bonam source of all energies. This is Brahman. Right? So Lord is described indirectly in this verse. Yata haro bhagavati nina bhaktir bhavishyati. Sarvatmani akiladhare. Sarvatmani akiladhare means super soul of every living being. Iti sankalpa varnaya. Now he is the akiladhare means he is the samambhana. So now what did he say? He is actually empowering his disciple. Brahma is empowering Narada Muni. Now I have taught you the process of creation and how Lord, and we discussed various incarnations of the Lord. Now you go and share this wisdom with all the living entities of material world. So that is how Narada Muni was empowered. And you can see from Srimad Bhagavatam, you can see so many people were inspired by Narada Muni, right? Whether it is Dhruva or Parikshit, Dhruva, who else? Prahlad, Uttanpad. Everybody, almost all stories are, there is a hand of Narada Muni in every single personality's life, right? Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, please read.
So Srimad Bhagavatam is the philosophy of devotional service and the scientific presentation of man's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prior to the age of Kali, there was no need for such a book of knowledge to know the Lord and his energies. But with the beginning of the age of Kali, human society gradually became influenced by four sinful principles, namely illegitimate connection with women, intoxication, gambling, and
Okay. Yeah, I think your voice is breaking. Yeah, let me complete reading this. Yeah, for such a blind human society in the darkness of ignorance, Srimad Bhagavatam is the torchlight to see things in proper perspective. Therefore, it was necessary to describe the signs of God from the very beginning or from the very birth of phenomenal world. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is the remedy for the jivas in the middle world. That is why it starts with the description of the material world, how it actually got created, what is the purpose of it, what elements have come together to create the whole material world with 14 planetary systems, right? How Brahma is born, how he created and the purpose of creation, how manvantras run, how incarnations come. All this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, ultimately so that one can take shelter of Krishna and go back to Krishna. So that is how the chapters, the cantos have sequenced, starting with the creation, ultimately with the surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So in that sequence. As we have already explained, Srimad Bhagavatam is so scientifically presented that any sincere student of this great science will be able to understand the science of God simply by reading it with attention or simply by regularly hearing from a bona fide speaker. So you should read with attention or you should regularly hear from a bona fide speaker. Then one will achieve the love of Godhead. Even those who are after the enjoyment of this material world can also take shelter of great science of Srimad Bhagavatam. And they will be successful at the end. So this is a key point, right? Even if somebody is materially inclined, still continue to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. They may not immediately achieve perfection, but eventually they will achieve the highest perfection. They will be successful at the end. Narada is therefore requested or ordered by his spiritual master to present this science with determination and in good plan. Narada was never advised to preach the principles of Bhagavatam to earn a livelihood. He was ordered by his spiritual master to take the matter very seriously in a missionary spirit. Yeah. Mayam varnayato musya
Mayam varnayato masya
Ishwarasyanumodita
Ishwarasyanumodata
Shinvata Shraddhaya Nityam
Shanvatah
Shanvataya Shraddhaya Nityam
Mayayatmana Muhyate.
Maya
Maya Atmana
Muhyati.
Muhyate.
Please read.
The Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord.
Yeah. So Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described. So which includes his creation, not just his direct pastimes with with the devotees, especially gopis, So one should understand all of Lord's activities, not just with his internal energy. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord. So one should do this every day, preferably. One should hear and read. If you can't read, at least you should hear every day. Please read.
The science of learning a subject matter is different from the sentiments of fanatics. Fanatics or the fools may consider the Lord's activities in relation with the external energy to be useless for them, and they may falsely claim to be higher participants in the internal energy of the Lord. But factually, the Lord's activities in relation with the external energy and the internal energy are equally good. On the other hand, those who are not completely free from the clutches of the Lord's external energy should devoutly hear regularly about the activities of the Lord in relation with the external energy.
One who is not already at a highly liberated state, already loving Lord, he should continue to hear both his Lord's activities with external energy as well as internal energy. One should not directly jump to 10th canto. That's what this point is. Yeah.
Some of them think that to hear about the pastimes of the Lord means to hear about his activities with the gopis, or about his pastimes like lifting the Govardhan hill, and they have nothing to do with the Lord's plenary expansions as the Purusha Avtaras, and their pastimes of the creation, maintenance, or annihilation of the material worlds. But a pure devotee knows that there is no difference between the pastimes of the Lord, either in Ras Leela or in creation, maintenance, or destruction of the material world.
Yeah, all these activities are same, whether it is Ras Leela or the process of creation through Purushavasaras. They're all transcendental.
The conditioned souls, therefore, must hear with appreciation and devotion the Lord's pastimes in relationship with the external energy, and such acts are as good as the hearing of Ras Leela in the liberated state. A conditioned soul should not imitate the activities of liberated souls.
Conditioned soul should not imitate the activities of liberated soul. So one should, as a conditioned soul, one should not jump directly to 10th canto.
In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Science of God, the first 9 cantos prepare the ground for hearing the 10th canto. This will be further explained in the last chapter of this canto. In the 3rd canto, it will be more explicit. A pure devotee of the Lord, therefore, must begin reading or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the very beginning and not from the 10th canto.
Yeah, so that is the process. We should hear in regular sequence like we are doing here. Yeah, so this chapter described various incarnations of the Lord, and then so that is Bhagavan realization, and then there is description of Paramatma and Brahman realization as well. In brief, in one verse it's covered. And after that, Narada Muni was encouraged by Lord Brahma to share this wisdom with anyone he meets as an agent of preaching, right? So that is what Guru does. Guru helps the disciple to achieve perfection by connecting with the Lord. But then what is the next step? Guru also encourages the disciple to continue to preach the message so that more jivas would be liberated, because that is the desire of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord wants everybody back home, back to Godhead, back home, back to Godhead. So his children who are liberated, the pure devotees, they are the agents for that. That is why we hear so many stories of Narada Muni liberating so many jivas in Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the reason why Vyasadeva had written all these scriptures for us about the Supreme Lord. So we should also become an agent in this mission of Lord. That is the reason in our capacity we should go out and preach. Like we have the great opportunity here, right? So we have, under the direction of His Grace Harilash Maharaj, we have so many festivals. I know many of you have helped yesterday in reaching out to new people. I am really deeply appreciative of your efforts, because that is the real purpose. I can guarantee you, your heart will be very satisfied after doing the service of talking to people about Krishna consciousness, whether it is small or big, doesn't matter. And if somebody, doesn't listen to you, it is also an opportunity for us to purify ourselves, because, in the middle world, people think big about themselves, right? They think, oh, I am big and everybody should respect me for my knowledge or, my devotion or whatever. So that will go away as soon as you start preaching, because people ask all kinds of questions, or they may reject and ignore you, right? You have to move on. That's why, as a Madhyamadhikari, discriminates between the 4 levels of people. Those who are, they will discriminate the people who are interested to learn, open-minded. For them, they will actually share the wisdom of Krishna consciousness. For those who are envious, he would avoid them. For those who are respectable, he would take guidance from them. Or the advanced devotees. Advanced, guidance, take guidance. And, envious, avoid them. As soon as you find somebody who is not, inclined, don't waste time. We have very limited time. Move on to the next person. And with the same enthusiasm, continue. Don't feel offended because the first guy didn't hear you. And when you do this service on a regular basis, you will see such transformation in your life, because you are being engaged in the direct mission of the Lord. This is direct mission of the Lord. You can serve prasadam, you can cook something and give. Those are all, not as direct. They are also direct. You're feeding the belly. But if you feed the ear, that is the direct. So even if you do other services, make sure you talk to new people when you meet. That is the best opportunity we are given by, these festivals. Don't miss that opportunity. Yesterday we had, the Veg Fest. Veg Fest. In Veg Fest, we have about 6 or 7 volunteers who talk to new people, whoever they met in the festival. You know how many people they registered? They registered, how many? Almost,
Maybe 300.
yeah, more than 300 actually. I just got the numbers.
Mhm.
Chandu Prabhu.
Because we had a couple of spreadsheet left over. So you will have some more numbers to add.
Yeah. So more than 300 registrations. Imagine, so at least if 10% of them become devotees, you made the best effort in your life. Their cycle has stopped with your effort. You know what that means? It's extremely pleasing to the Lord. Imagine this is the mission with which Lord Chaitanya sent Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu to go door to door and preach to the people. So they both of them go together as a they are the team, and they go to each door, knock at the door, and the owner of the home opens the door. You know what? Nityananda Prabhu, who is the Supreme Lord, he would put a grass on the tongue, means just showing humility, and beg them to chant the holy name of the Lord. So that is the mood and mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he would send his best associates, right, pure devotees and the empowered incarnations, to go door to door and make them, devotees. That is how munificent is, or the merciful is Lord Chaitanya. And to be engaged in a similar fashion, you can imagine how much you would please the Supreme Lord Chaitanya. You see? So that is how you can achieve the fastest mercy of Supreme Lord. Okay? So we started this university outreach only recently. It's been, seriously only since January. Already we have easily 40 to 50 students. So if we put this much effort, and if that is sincere, Lord would reciprocate 100 times. You can see that we have that personal experience with that. So please use these opportunities, like facilities. This is what Brahma instructed Narada Muni. This is what Lord Chaitanya instructed Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. This is what Prabhupada wanted all of his disciples to do. You see, his disciples like Jayapatak Maharaj or Gopal Krishna Maharaj, how many thousands they have reached out. This is the direct service of the Lord. The whole purpose of giving all the scriptures so that people of middle world understand the purpose of life and go back to Godhead. And if you are engaged in that service directly or indirectly, especially directly by talking to people, you are directly in the mission of the Lord. That's the fastest way to grow spiritually. Okay, so anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Haribol Mataji.
Prabhuji, I'm outside. Prabhu, sorry, my voice is breaking. Prabhuji, yesterday I was involved in that book distribution service. So actually, one American lady was, she came and then she was like crying, Prabhu, how did you approach me? I'm feeling so happy. Thank you so much. I'm really distressed right now. And thank you so much for giving these books and all. She was like so happy by approaching her, Prabhuji. Really.
See, it touches the heart. Lot of people here, especially in the Western world, they are lonely. They never talk to anybody. And coming to a place like this, and you are now openly talking, this is like something magical for them, talking freely, openly with somebody. That is a common thing in our temple. We don't really care so much nowadays because we are so familiar with that kind of a speech. We do celebrations together and we are so close to each other. But for outsiders, that's a big deal. A lot of people, lonely. So just by, and they won't come and speak to you. If you go out and speak to them, they really feel very good. Sometimes they will be upset, but if somebody is upset, it doesn't matter so much. It's not like we are bringing down the fame of the festival. No, it's not. See, if just because there is going to be one accident, will we stop driving cars? Accidents are happening every day. But if one person is upset because of our speech, for example, right, they may complain to whoever it is. Doesn't matter. When Nityananda Prabhu was preaching, Jagai was also upset. He threw a stone on Nityananda Prabhu. We continue on the mission, and people are ready to kill Jesus for the reason of preaching, and they beaten Haridas Thakur in 27 marketplaces. So it's not going to be, oh, of course you have a very good experience, and there will be many experiences where we may also have negative experiences, but we don't feel bad. We are on the mission of Lord. Our only goal is to please Lord. We should not take it personally. Even if somebody you know, criticizes or speaks negatively with us, right, during this mission, right? So I was very happy that yesterday Sujata Radhika Mataji, Daivi Radhika Mataji, Sridhar Gopal Prabhu, Preeti Mataji, all of you have participated, and you know, it was a phenomenal success. And interestingly, when you speak to more and more people, you will feel naturally very happy. You know, I want to hear from others. You know, did you feel like that, or were you hesitant? What happened in your approach? Go ahead, Sujata Radhika Mataji. Are you speaking? You are muted. No, you're not muted, but you're not speaking. Sridhar Gopal Prabhu, you did, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. It was really a great experience, Prabhu. So actually, I really felt very happy that I was an instrument to introduce Krishna to them. So yeah, as you mentioned, Prabhu, even 30 people, 10% or 3% people out of 300, if they become a devotees, it's a great success actually.
Great success, you know, that's a permanent mark in their life, in the
Yes,
history of their journey of the soul, right?
correct.
Around.
Yeah, there is a lot of potential, Prabhu. As you mentioned, festivals are the best platforms for us to preach, so that we can reach out to hundreds and thousands of people. So yeah, it's a great opportunity and it's a best service, right? Gaurukara Premadana Harinama Sankirtana.
That's true.
So yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is our essence of our movement, right? So preaching Krishna consciousness and giving Krishna to others, this is the greatest sacrifice, right? Greatest charity, I can say, greatest charity.
It's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
is the direct service.
Yeah, great charity. It's an amazing experience, Prabhu. This gives the big confidence that in Anand Mela we can reach out to maybe multiples of so many, maybe hundreds probably.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And yeah, and one more thing, Prabhu. Next thing I thought, so one another opportunity is right now volunteers are going and talking right on the ground. But other thing is maybe in each and every booth, because the flow will be coming directly to the booths, right? Food booths. And if you catch the people there itself, it's very fast. People will be standing in queue and we can go there and talk directly to the people when they are standing in the queue for food. They cannot go anywhere. They are waiting there for the food, Prashad.
Yeah.
So that could be another thing. Yeah.
Just need more volunteers. If more of you
Yeah.
join this mission,
Yeah.
sure this will happen. So no hesitation. No, I'm here just for on the mission, on the order of my Guru, on the order of
Yeah.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's it. Go and
Yeah.
don't hesitate.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anybody else
Thank-
want to speak? Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu. It was a good experience, Prabhu. Maybe 6, 7, I might have wrote names. And I was just thinking, I need a class to talk about Bhagavad Gita and what to talk about. I mean, I talk about whatever I came to my mind, but if there is a structured way that this is how we speak, if there is a session like that before any festival, that would be helpful.
We'll do it again before the next festival. It's a standard script, Mataji. You can first icebreaker, which is to basically I'll just spend like 2 minutes because we really cannot speak more than 2-3 minutes with any new person. So you say hi, how are you, and is this the first time you are visiting this festival? How do you like the food? So these are icebreakers that will make them open up and just talk to you in a friendly way. So once you tell that, the next thing is you can relate to the festival. One thing because this is vegetarian festival, you can tell about. So vegetarianism is a great habit. You are basically participating in ahimsa, doing no harm to other living entities, and this is a principle discussed in Bhagavad Gita as well. In fact, by eating the right food, you can raise your consciousness. So you can speak like that. And then after that, you can just connect the two. First greeting, and then connect the festival. And then you can tell, this whole festival is organized by Vedic Culture Center in Samamish. Have you been there? They say yes or they say no. If they say yes or no, you can say, yeah, this temple is not just a, temple like any other, where there is just rituals, and you just do some, some puja and then leave, pay some money and take some prasad and leave. This is a place of learning. It's a university, and we have courses on life-changing subjects like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, where you get to learn how to apply those teachings in your life. And that has changed my life. I've been ever blissful since then. And it also teaches the process of meditation for this age. So if you want to be truly happy, you can join us, and it's a free course. You can mention like that. And then they say, "Hey, I'm not interested readily right now in anything." Then you can talk about their kids. If they are interested, we have children classes. If they learn at this age, they will be set for their lifetime. You don't need to worry about them for your life, for their life. So you can say like that, inspire, because everybody cares about the children, right? If not about themselves. Then if they are still hesitant, they both are not applicable, then you say, temple celebrates many festivals. You can share your contact so we can inform you when the festival happens. So we have a sheet where they can tick about being informed on festival time. And also you can tell if you are not interested in learning, we also have volunteer opportunities. You can serve the cows, you can help cook the meals for devotees in temple. So you get informed about these things, if you join our contact list, and then take their name, email. Those are the two important things, and their city, so that if they want to be informed about a class in that city. So that's it. These the three things. This is the flow. Every festival I get to register at least 70, 80. And with not with not continuous effort. If I do continuous effort, I register about nearly 100. It's easy. It's not once you. I am doing this for several years, but if you do that, you can as well do it. So
Yeah,
yesterday,
one more thing, Prabhu. Yesterday, so I met one American actually. So just I thought maybe let me talk to him. So I went ahead and started with yoga. Because if I directly talk something spirituality, they may not connect, right? So I talked about yoga, and he said, okay, very interesting. Then I talked about Discover Yourself course. Then I talked about Bhagavad Gita. He said, it's very interesting and I want to join. So he registered his name.
nice.
Yeah. Another thing is some youth couples came. So the one hint which I followed yesterday is, so as you mentioned, if it is a family person, directly I talk about the kids. That's where the starting point. And if a youth couple, both boyfriend and both boy and girl came together, I directly talk about the relationships. Okay, if you attend this course, the relationship will improve more, any kind of relationships. That's where they interested about this one, and they said, okay, I would like to register.
Yep. So always
So
make it relatable to people's
exactly.
period
Yeah.
situation, right?
Yeah.
Somebody is stressed at work, then
Yes.
you can talk about how chanting helps to keep your mind at calm, right?
Correct.
So you can talk.
And another person, he said that he has been looking for this course since long time, but he forgot. He thanked me. He said that thank you for reminding me, because I have been looking for this one. I want to join. I felt very happy. And
He'll,
he joined his kids
when
also.
he was looking for it, you know what
Yeah.
happened in his case? It is only his Paramatma driving him
Exactly.
to. This
Yeah.
is direct God's intervention.
Yeah, I told him saying that. So it's not just a coincidence. It's a Lord's arrangement, that because you had the pure thought in mind. So I got inspired and I talked to you. Just a Lord's arrangement. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Devi Radhika Mataji, how did you do?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it was fine Prabhuji, like I could connect with mostly Indian bodies and a couple of white bodies. some were like we had mixed interest. Like some were more interested on kids activities. Some few of them wanted to join for yoga sessions, and some were interested in device. So we circled that sheet, saying whatever device they wanted. We also met some members who have moved from India, and they were looking for, association, or not association, they were just looking for Indian community kind of thing. We also met some people, like when I start to ask them, like, can I have a couple of your minutes? Somewhere bluntly they say, sorry, no. So we just walked out.
Can I have 2 minutes? No, they'll not say. Just directly go to, hey, how are you? And, I hope you're enjoying the festival, like that. I hope you're enjoying the festival. That is a good
Way
starting.
to start.
Yeah. Because they are really enjoying, or they will tell you, no, we're not really enjoying something. You have to make their mouth open right away in a very direct context.
Okay. So some, like, we get a gut feeling that they're open to talk. So with them the conversation goes well. Some were like a little reluctant. Some already, as said, like, within our group, I think someone has already spoken and they've already registered. So it was a good experience, Prabhuji. But I think
you will
by experience.
As you go through more festivals, you will become natural.
Correct.
Yeah. So by the way, this will make you excel in your own, regular field of work. Whatever you do. I have seen on my own, my own personal life, the way you connect things well, you will, because there is an attempt to understand the situation of others, in this process. You will learn even if you are not doing exactly right like that. So you relate to people in a much better way, and that will help you drive better communication at wherever place of work you are. Anyway, so good.
And also we met one single mom, Prabhuji, and she was very, she was struggling with her teenager, and she was just trying to see how she can help her teenager and all that. So I told her, like, to bring to temple, to Sunday school, to keep her in association with devotees, or safe environment for the child. And so she was very happy about it. She got a couple of books and things like that. So we can see different people, having different priorities, which is nice.
Very different. Every person is a world of its own, everybody is going through their own struggle, right? Yeah. So good. I'm happy about how each of you did.
Thank you for pushing us through this, Prabhuji, to come out of our. Thanks for pushing us to come out of the comfort zone.
Just happy, stitching flower garlands and putting henna. They're happy with that. They don't have to face anybody, Yeah, that's why it's going to really make you really happy, in the heart, and you feel that, that connection with the Lord soon.
Prabhuji, include me in your next service.
Yeah, you are doing book distribution.
Yeah, anyways, you're 24/7 doing it, Prabhuji.
No problem.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu will not forget me if I do that.
No.
No, Prabhu, Nitin Prabhuji, he was not eating prasadam and he was distributing books continuously till evening.
No. Don't praise. False praise are not allowed.
No, truth.
Prabhu, one thing, collection of books, Prabhu, which I found like for Western audience. So we are not able to give books, which is kind of very relatable. So collection of books can be include all. I felt there is less a collection of books, which we are not able to take.
So some books for Western audience, the books that may be more relevant are SSR, Science of Self-Realization will go well. A lot of them like it. Bhagavad Gita also they like it.
So that introduction kind of books were not there. Like it's like the small books, Prabhupada's books. Okay, just that little book It would be just $2-3, but they will get an idea. So those kind of books, if they are there, it's not like $12 or 15, just like $5.
That's a good input. I think we can give it to Prabhu. Okay, so we'll end the call. Next weekend is, and I think Amarendra Prabhu will be there. So all of us will be immersed in that. We'll take a break for next week, and then we'll resume. So we ended the chapter. So we'll.
Prabhu, also, I think you didn't print Anandram Prabhu's card. And I think we kept both me and my husband's in the bag which Chandra Prabhu had. We didn't take it home because next time anyway we won't remember. So we kept it with him.
Yeah. So what did I hear? Anandram Prabhu's cards were not there?
Yeah, it was not printed, I think.
Okay, we'll ask for it.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I'm sorry I joined a little late. I had some office work. So Prabhu, one realization from me means I went with Chandu Prabhu to see how he is doing, and it was so surprising to see that whoever he approached, they all signed up. So and the way he explained was was so good that they got means they were engaged in that conversation, and finally they signed up. But I tried to copy that. I went to 3 people. All 3 people rejected me.
Oh, this is the first time we're trying. Don't.
So then I was thinking, what is wrong? So then I went and spoke to Prabhu on why this time. So he said that means he's doing it for quite a long time. So he understands
Yeah,
the
so
people
there are
who is
certain nuances.
more approachable, and he knows who will say yes. So that was a very surprising thing, and I think that okay, I need to spend a lot of more time in doing this, and then
Spent a lot of time with
having
Chandu
some.
Prabhu. I spent a lot
Yes,
of
Prabhu?
time. I spent a lot of time with Chandu Prabhu. That's why I put
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
So it is just basically, repetition more than anything else. So you will be there soon. It's just a matter of time. You all.
yeah. So
It's just a matter of translating the knowledge into practical wisdom. And
yeah, yes. So with one family, I almost have spent about 5 minutes explaining, and then I asked them, "Do you want to sign up?" Their answer was no. So I didn't know how to proceed from there.
it's not like question for them anymore. It's about informing them that yeah, we're already signing you up. Tell me what interests you. That's how I say.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe the same information you have to put in a different way.
Yeah, the same information you're seeking. You tell, hey, here is the list. You see, the one that we discussed is here. Should I mark it? I'm marking this. You can say, and they'll say, yes. Oh, no, I don't want that. I want Bhagavad Gita, not device. They'll say, okay.
Okay.
Something you're hooked.
Okay.
So
Okay, sure, Prabhu.
you become master in that. That's how we all should become. And I'll be very happy, if our entire team becomes preachers, right? Once you do this, you know how to present this, philosophy in a better way also to everybody.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.